Hello everyone, my name is CJ. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing a December 2020 wrap up with you. Better late than never, am I right, lads? I only read 7 books in December, but I also was on like a 3-week long vacation. I got married, blah blah blah. We all know that already. It was a weird reading month in retrospect. I DNF'd 2 books, which is a lot in a single month for me, especially with the amount I read being so low. But I also got 2 of my top favorite books of 2020 within the month of December as well. So you win some, you lose some, am I right? All right, well, let's get started. First up, I read Hurricane Season. It's on my radar because of BookTube regardless. It's a piece of translated fiction, and I picked it up because Lauren Groff recommended it to me, actually, because I won a Riverhead video contest where she recommended me a book based on a stack of photos of books I submitted. This book was inventive and exhausting and dark and genius and pained and strenuous, and I was in a weird place to kind of read it, honestly. I'm like in the middle of the desert enjoying my honeymoon with my husband, and I'm reading about a very dark murder mystery in a very damaged Mexican village. Inventive in form, it kind of follows a cast of characters who are all relating their experience and tie to a murder that happens in town regarding someone who's referred to as the witch. I think there's some interesting exploration of gender identity within this, of the occult, of magic, of toxic masculinity. My one critique of it was there are no periods, essentially. Like, each section, I think there's like 6 different narrators, and each section is a giant run-on sentence, which I can be in the mood for, I guess, if I sat down and read the book all in one sitting. But as I was kind of on the move and picking it up and putting it back down, it was hard to kind of get into sync with the narration. Next up, Lying Life of Adults by Elena Ferrante. I read this as part of my book club, and I liked it overall. I think it's like a solid 3 stars for me. We follow a young woman who is our protagonist as she is navigating through her childhood to early adolescence and kind of taking on themes of self-image, innocence, self-reliance, and understanding and deconstructing the familial dynamics that she assumed were going to be forever within her household. I think the writing was beautiful and kind of captured the essence of the self-sabotaging inner critic that can exist within a young teenage girl really well. I did have some problems with this book overall, but it did inspire me to want to pick up the My Brilliant Friend series. I read the first one years and years ago and didn't really care for it, but I wasn't the same reader back then, you know? I'm down to try again. Then I read Feats and Furies by Lauren Groff. Speaking of Lauren Groff, what a weird book. I DNF'd this at the end of the day, but I read the entirety of the first section, which was titled Fates. I think it was like 150 pages, so I really tried. I was just constantly going back and forth if what I was reading was genius or garbage, which sometimes can signify to me that maybe what the author's intent is going a little over my head, and it might require a reread, or like me looking into it with more nuance, or that it's like overtly trying to be academic in a way that doesn't vibe with me, and it's too big for its britches, too smart for its own good. In the end, I felt that Feats and Furies was the latter, unfortunately, and I DNF'd it. I think like the playwright, playboy persona of, what was his name? He had a weird name. Lancelot? His name was Lancelot, I think. Oh, they called him Lotto. Was intriguing, but kind of like an ingenue, kind of like an ingenue vibe, but reversed with the gender stereotype there. And essentially you get to know that the foundation of the main relationship between Lotto and his wife was built on a stack of lies, and the second half of the book is kind of uncovering that, but it kind of blows itself up, and I didn't care about continuing reading it. I was like, whatever, I'm done at this point. I really like Florida by Lauren Groff though, so I think it was just like a little bit too meta for me, and talking about creativity and like theater in a way that I wasn't invested in. I don't think I'm invested in theater. I don't know. Step on Earth for Briefly Gorgeous. I just covered this in my best of 2020, so I'm not going to delve too far into it. This was a gorgeous book, a beautiful exploration of the immigrant experience, young sexuality being expressed in often dangerous ways, drug addiction. I thought the bending and queering of the genre and the form was really beautiful, and just like a gorgeous piece of autofiction. Read it. Next up, Mars Room. I had this sitting on my shelf for a while and took it on a road trip with us, and it essentially is about a women's prison in California. I ended up DNFing this as well because it just kind of got too stereotypical prison porn, Orange is the New Black. Like, I didn't think there was a lot of nuance in the situations that were being expressed, and it just kind of felt gimmicky at the end of the day. Family members that are incarcerated right now, so it didn't reveal anything new to me other than kind of a narrative trope that I was already familiar with, of troubled woman in prison. You know what I mean? I set that down. Next up, Funny Weather. This is a kind of collection of essays and artist interviews and journalistic exposés on certain artists, and it was interesting. It was interesting and mostly focused around the importance of art in the midst of tumultuous political uprising, as well as late stage capitalism and kind of the climate crisis that's approaching. You can kind of leaf through this book. I picked up parts and pieces that vibed with me, and overall it was worth it. I don't think Olivia Lang is my favorite writer. I've tried a few things from her now, but I think there is something interesting about the questions she poses that make me want to pick up her work still. Lastly, I hold a wolf. Yes, I say wolf, not wolf. I don't know, I'm from Florida, I'm sorry. I hold a wolf by the ears. I'm so grateful that my friend Jalen raved about this book so much, because it was just such a delight for me to read. Again, I covered this in my best of 2020, so I'm not going to lament on it too much, but it's kind of a spooky, ethereal, suspenseful collection of short stories that are all about, I don't know what they're all about. What are they all about? They're all set, most of them are set in Florida, which I love. Hello, I'm from Florida. And they all just have like a kind of mysterious veil over them that something is not quite right, and a kind of tension between unbelievability and believability, which I loved. Really entrancing, and I thought the writing was excellent. So that's it. Just a wee little December wrap up for us lads. Going into January. It's January 5th today. It's a day, and we're gonna do it, and we're gonna keep doing it. So let me know what you read in December. Was it a productive reading month? Was it on track with how much you usually read? Tell me about it. Okay, see you later.